All right, gentlemen, it's been a few weeks, but here we go. This is the same room I was in the previous podcast, and sorry, I'm kind of doing this on my phone, so it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, I got everything ready. It took a few weeks of my free time, but I did finally get things going, and as you can see, I got things here like my TV, consoles, my big box collections up there. Let's see here, I got my amiibo figurines right up here, and then I got my PS1 collection here with of course my favorite Final Fantasy IX crew standing on top of them. A couple of my games, you'll notice some RPGs in there, some of the older PS1s. I got PSP and Vita right over here, and then going down we have a couple things hung up here, my list of PS4 games, going down some more of the PS4 games. I can't believe it's already been 5 years since the PS3 came out. My library shows it definitely doesn't feel like it, still feels like a new console, but I got more of my collection here. Then we work ourselves into some of the PS3, and I kind of had to put my 360 and Xbox kind of right here. It's kind of crunching for room a bit, and then more of my PS3 down here. Man, definitely shows how long the PS3 was around also. But then I got my PS2 stack right down there. Somehow I was able to fit it all into one shelf. That's pretty crazy there. Then we get to the middle section. Right here at the bottom, we have from the Sonic Mania Collector's Edition I got, the Warriors of Light Play Arts Kai Collector's Edition of Tales of Xillia. My 14 statue I got from the Square Enix store. And then some of the figurines here. Stuff I've just collected over time. The one I really like is the one I got from the Stormblood Collector's Edition. Xenos Galvus there. Main villain of that. Very awesome. Like I said, you really got to get on the 14 train. And then we get some of my more favorite games right here. I put them on the small axe here. I got Zelda 2, Link to the Past, my favorite one there, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and I got a couple things right here, Zelda related. And then of course I got a nice Wind Waker art-like statue. I do really like it. It kind of reminds me of kind of the Kingdom Hearts type of thing, but it's Zelda. I mean, I love this poster very much, so I chose this one to be there. But of course we go on top, more amiibos just lined up. It's a pretty tight fit up there, so I thought it'd be appropriate to have them there. Then we got NES collection over here, the Super Nintendo right here, and a stack of N64 games. It's a shame, I wish they kind of put the labels on the side of them. And then we have the Game Boys here, the SP and the original Game Boy. Now this wasn't one I bought from a collector's store. This one has actually been around since the early 90s is when I got it. So this is the same one. It's still in great condition. It still works. You pop 4 batteries in, still works. Got the Game Boy camera put in there just to get a spot for it. Then we come down, and this is the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance section. A couple of these I don't have cases for. They got lost in time, I suppose, but I do eventually want to get boxes for them, but especially Oracle of Seasons here. I feel bad I haven't done that yet, but the boxes are always in a weird price there. I'm waiting for the right price to come. But we come here, the Neo Geo games. I do actually have the console with it. And over here, the Sega section, not too much. I never owned a Saturn, so you won't see Saturn games on here yet. Again, I'm trying to find the right price for them. But we have the Phantasy Star games over there, the Sonic games, Rocket Knight, that's a great game. Then the stack of Genesis games there. Sonic Mania Collector's Edition, it looked like a Genesis game, so I just kind of put it there. Then some of the more Dreamcast games. I got Phantasy Star Online, the Sonic Adventure games, Skies of Arcadia, Grandia 2. Time Stalker is in here also. That might be one I want to talk about one day. We talk about very questionable RPGs, so I'll be glad to talk about that one day if there's enough requests for it. And then we work our way down to the DS games. I got a whole library here also coming through. The DS was around for a long time, and they had a lot of good JRPGs that came out, and platformers on top of that. So that's a system I was glad to have for many years. Oh, and then the Samus Aran statue, definitely one of my favorite characters there. I was glad to get one of those. Then we pop down to the 3DS section with Shin Megami Tensei 4 in the front, and my Game Boy Advance there. Again, this is not a one I bought as a collector's item. This is one I've had since I was the first day it came out, and I'm glad I got this one. I mean, this was really one of the greatest things I ever held in my hand. It still feels great in your hand today. I mean, my hands are a little bigger now, but it definitely was great for what it was. I wish the later Game Boy Advance iterations kind of took more inspiration from that. That wasn't a micro, but then we got the list of 3DS games here. Again, it's been out since 2011, and it's had a great amount of RPGs, action platformers, and all the like, just like the DS before it. And I got a couple of the more collector's boxes over here, and one of the best games I've ever played recently, Radiant Historia, definitely got the front panel for it. And let's see here, I'm gonna knee down to the GameCube games here now, and the GameCube was a great system. I really thought it was, but you know, it definitely didn't get peaked the height of the popularity of the PS2, and had a lot of limitations for it that put people in the direction of the PS2. But it did pretty well in going against Xbox. But then we have the Wii games here. Of course, we all know the Wii was the surprisingly the dominant console on a casual level, at least for that console generation. I definitely got my own fair share of games. I mean, despite the console being what it is and the motion control being questionable even to me, it's still it still had like a great library for the console. So little Simon there, Simon's Quest. Then come down here with Goku standing in front of the Axiom Verge and the Switch games here. My Switch library is starting to build up. I'm a person that's very into the physical copies of the game, so I always get physical any opportunity I get, even if I have to wait a little while longer, because I'm kind of for and not for digital at the same time. I'm okay with digital if it's the only choice, but if there's a physical version, I definitely want to grab it. And then we get to, lastly, the Wii U section here. Again, not the most popular console, but it did have its fair share of good games here. I do have Star Fox Zero laying out in front because it's a big box and it helps put things together. I enjoyed the game, but that control scheme was definitely one of the worst ideas they could have possibly done. It really shows that there was not much you could do with the gamepad beyond just like extended controls, and they really tried to force the thing down your throat with this one, with having the aiming protocol being on the gamepad itself. It really was a rub your belly and rub your belly and rub your head at the same time type of deal. But I eventually got used to it, and it was fun if you could get beyond that, but I understand if some people could not. But alright, then we go to the consoles here. I decided to put my most recent consoles on top. Just I don't know, just kind of what I thought of. Just put the most recent ones on top. They're probably most relevant. Then down here I have the Wii U and the Wii together. And then I got the Super Nintendo here, the PlayStation 1 here, the PS2 and PS3 sharing a hole here. Now down here, I do have the NES, NES2, and GameCube here. Again, I kind of put these together. You can still run any of them, but I was just kind of crunching for room on this one. I kind of do want to find a way to extend and get more of these going, but for now this will have to do. Then I got the Dreamcast on top of the 360 here. And then I got the Nintendo 64 in its own personal spot here. And then lastly, I have the Sega Genesis over here. Hopefully soon to be accompanied by a Sega Saturn. If I can get a good price for it. Then nothing too special over here. Kind of have like a book collection. Some of my stuff laying here where I'm doing the podcast right here. Studio, not too much with that. And then I plan on getting stuff to put in these containers. I got a lot of DVDs and some cabling and stuff here. This isn't going to be here forever, but well, of course I got a Zelda poster right behind the door. I think you might be able to see that. But yes, that is essentially the room here. And if you guys like it, just comment, let me know. If you don't like it, then, you know, oh well. But alright, take care.